Buksan po natin ang ating mga Biblia sa Titus chapter 2 and verse 4. Basahin lamang natin kung ano yung teksto natin na ating pinag-aaralan. And we are actually continuing dito po sa topic natin, God's plan for young women. And this is actually already the 6th part. And we're looking at how to love an abusive husband. Ito yung ikalawang bahagi, how to love an abusive husband. But let's look at Titus chapter 2 verse 4 na basis natin rito sa pag-aaral na ito. If you will connect verse 4 to verse 3, makikita natin na ginagawa ni Apostle Paul ay kanyang pinapayuhan si Titus na sabihan ang mga older women to teach what is good so that they will be able to train young women. Yun ang sabi ng verse 3. And verse 4 contains some of the things na dapat nilang gawin. Sa verse 4 nakalagay, and so train the young women to love their husbands and children. And so we're stuck in this particular portion of Scripture where Paul counsels the young women, or not directly counseling young women, but telling Titus to instruct the older women so that the older women will instruct the younger women. Yun na may kita nating method dito, na yung older women ang directly nagka-counsel sa young women, and this is a reminder to our older women of a very important ministry in our church. This is a very important ministry for our older women. You don't have to be 60 years old, but if you have some spiritual maturity and you have women who are younger than you are in age and in spirituality, you can consider yourself already an older woman that may have the ability to counsel them. At pwede nyo na silang matulungan. And particularly, the Bible says dito sa Titus chapter 2 and verse 4, you can instruct them to do certain things. And one of them is to love their husbands. And as I said, we're taking some time in this because there are many situations that I feel need to be addressed. Sayang itong opportunity. Nandito na tayo sa bahaging ito na pinag-uusapan natin how women are to love their husbands. And I know that there are many difficult situations in marital relationships wherein wives may find it difficult to obey the counsel of Paul. And so we looked at different cases. We looked at the case of a wife loving, for example, a passive-aggressive husband. How does she do that? And we've looked at also, ito na nga tayo ngayon, we're also already now looking at how a wife is to love her husband if her husband is an abusive husband, a violent husband. And so they might say, it's very difficult to follow the counsel of Paul in Titus chapter 2 verse 4, that wives are to love their husbands in this particular case. And more so, as we understand the phrase, loving the husband, not just talks about a love which is an act of the will. It talks about affection. It has some of the feelings involved. It talks about considering your husband your dear friend or even best friend. So that's a very difficult counsel to follow. And women might say, maybe other women will have that easy to obey because they have husbands who are leaders, they are not passive, their husbands are loving, are caring, are affectionate, but my husband is different. And so we're looking at these different scenarios in life wherein they might find it very difficult to obey this counsel. And we see that, and the wonderful thing regarding the Bible is that the Bible has an answer to situations like these that we're looking at. And so today, I want us to continue at the issue of how a wife can love an abusive husband. And as I mentioned before, if your husband is abusive, if your husband is violent, that is no reason to separate from your husband or to initiate a divorce. Well, again, dito nga sa ating bansa, walang divorce dito, pero meron na tayong nullification of marriage at yung iba, parang yun na yung equivalent ng divorce dito sa ating bansa. Now, maybe some of you might feel na pag kayo ay nasasaktan ng inyong mister, ito ay legitimate basis na para mag-initiate ng isang separation. Pero hindi. As I mentioned before, there are only 2 cases wherein pwede kayong, kumbaga, papayagan kayo ng Panginoon. Hindi kayo inuutusan ng Panginoon na mag-initiate ng paghihiwalay, pero pinapayagan kayo ng Panginoon na gawin yon. And the case is 1, when your husband commits unrepentant sexual immorality, and secondly, when your husband abandons you. At yung abandonment na yon ay wala ng intention sa pagbabalik. Pero pag ang experience nyo ay nasasaktan lang kayo, nasuntok kayo, o kung ano man ang ginawa sa inyo physically, ito ay hindi, well, according to Scripture, wala tayong may kita na ito ay rason na para ma-dissolve ang marriage. And so this is one of the things that we need to understand. So, you're stuck in that kind of a relationship. So what do you do? How do you love your husband pagka nandun ka sa ganung klaseng sitwasyon? Okay. So, before just giving you a review of what we've looked at and then continuing our study today, I'd like to read to you from the article in this particular book, Women Helping Women. This is a biblical guide to major issues women face. And this particular chapter was written by Martha Peace, a Christian counselor. At ito ang kanyang binanggit dito sa kanyang chapter, Counseling Women in Problem Christian Marriages. So, let me just begin with this introduction para dito, no? Kasi very interesting yung kanyang binanggit rito. Sabi niya, I knew Stuart had a temper. Now, she was referring, Martha Peace is referring to a counselee, isang babae na kinakaunselan niya, na ang pangalan ay Peggy, na ang kanyang asawa, ang pangalan ay si Stuart. So si Peggy, ang asawa niya si Stuart, at si Stuart, medyo nasasaktan siya. Violent yung kanyang mister. Okay, pakinggan nyo yung kwento ni Peggy. Sabi ni Peggy, I knew Stuart had a temper before we got married. Alam ko, mainitin ang ulo niya. His mother even told me privately that she was concerned about his anger, and she suggested that I might want to reconsider the engagement. Sinabihan siya ng kanyang magiging mother-in-law, nako, yan pa namang anak ko. Ano yan? May pagkabayolente yan. Baka gusto mong i-reconsider ang relasyon mo sa kanya. At that time, I was young and foolish and told her, he would never treat me like that. He loves me. That was 16 years ago. And it has been far worse than I ever imagined. Peggy explains further by telling about Stuart's moods, yelling and cursing, mean verbal attacks, and a few incidents where he pushed her down and hit her with his fists. So yung kinukwento ni Peggy, yung tungkol sa pagmumura, masasakit na mga salita, hanggang sa isang beses natulak at nasuntok pa si Peggy, ni Stuart. Once, she even called the police. But when they arrived, she lost her courage and told them it was her fault and that everything was all right. So the police left. Nagsumbong sa police, pero pagdating ng police, natakot na siyang magsalita. Another time, she contacted her pastor, but she did not tell him the whole truth, and he did not pursue it for fear Stuart would leave the church. Stuart appears to be an exemplary church member. He is always arriving early to greet people. He cannot do enough for others, and he teaches the adult couples Sunday school class. But after 16 years of marriage, Peggy is just going through the motions. No, yung parang sumasali na, umattend na lang siya ng church, pero wala talaga yung puso niya dun. She does not hear his Sunday school lesson because she is bitterly replaying previous offenses in her mind. In despair, Peggy comes to you for counsel and says, I'm so hurt and confused, I don't know what to do. Will you help me? So yan daw, ito ang sitwasyon. Ito si Peggy, ganyan ang kanyang sitwasyon, yung kanyang mister, member pa ng church, napakabait pag nasa loob ng church, pero sa loob ng bahay, nambubugbog ng asawa. Unfortunately, Peggy and Stuart's story is all too common. Peggy may mistakenly believe that God is pleased when she covers up Stuart's sin. Peggy is also afraid and bitter. She is afraid of angering Stuart and losing him. She is afraid that things will stay as they are perpetually. She is bitter because she harbors unforgiveness and believes that she is in a hopeless situation. The key to counseling her is to help her understand God's perspective of her problem. She must learn to biblically overcome her fear and use the resources that God has given to protect her. This process will probably not be easy or pleasant, but it is possible for Peggy, with God's help, to respond to Stuart's anger in a righteous way. Okay, so with that introduction, yun ang ating gustong tingnan ngayon in greater detail. Ano ang dapat gawin sa isang sitwasyon na ganun? Na yung mister mo, nananakit na sa'yo, di mo naman siya pwedeng hiwalayan ng permanente para ma-dissolve na yung marriage ninyo because the Bible does not say na pwede mong gawin yon, as I mentioned a while ago. So, you're stuck in that kind of a relationship. What do you do? Ano ngayon ang dapat mong gawin sa sitwasyon na yon? Okay, last time, tiningnan natin kung paano ma-address ito, and the way I did that was, first of all, we looked at the description of violence found in the Republic Act number 9262, also known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. At nakita natin that itong violence na to included physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, and economic abuse. We also probed more deeply into this problem by looking at some signs whereby a wife can determine whether she is in an abusive relationship. And a wife can determine this by answering some diagnostic questions. Tanungin niya yung kanyang sarili nitong mga tanong na to in connection with her inner thoughts and feelings and her partner's violent and controlling behaviors. Okay, mga katanungan katulad ng nararamdaman mo ba na ikaw ay takot na takot lagi sa iyong asawa? Nararamdaman mo ba na parang wala ka ng ginawang tama sa mata ng asawa mo? Nararamdaman mo ba na dapat ka lang saktan o maltratuhin ng iyong mister? Parang feeling mo, dapat lang akong suntukin, dapat lang akong saktan, dapat ako sampalin kasi ako may kasalanan ng lahat. Yan, pagka ganyan daw ang mga tumatakbo sa isipan mo at pakiramdam mo, maaring ito ay ebidensya na ikaw ay nasa isang abusive relationship. Now, what about your partner? Mga tanong tulad ng, ikaw ba'y lagi niyang pinapahiya at lagi kanyang sinisigawan? Sinisisi ka ba niya lagi sa pag-aabuso niya sa iyo, sa pananakit niya sa iyo? Ikaw ba'y kanyang sinasaktan o tinatakot ka niya, nasasaktan ka niya o papatayin ka niya? Sinisira ba niya yung mga gamit mo? Masyado ba siyang seloso o possessive? Lagi ka ba niyan chinecheck kung nasaan ka ng lugar, kung nasaan ka nagpunta? Yung ibang klaseng pag-check na parang investigador, o nasaan ka na ngayon? Lagi kang tinatawagan sa cellphone. Every few minutes, tumutunog yung cellphone mo, dahil tinatanong ka, nasaan ka na ngayon? O kaya, lagi ka niya sinasamahan dahil hindi ka niya maiwan-iwan na mag-isa. Kung hindi ka niya pwedeng samahan, iwan ka lang niya sa bahay, sabihin, hindi ka pwede umalis kahit saan, hindi ka pwede pumunta sa bahay ng nanay mo, o hindi ka pwede pumunta ng church, dapat magkasama tayo lagi. So malamang, pagka ang sagot mo sa mga tanong na ito ay puro oo, ayan, malaking posibilidad talaga na ikaw nga ay nasa isang sitwasyon na kung saan ang napangasawa mo ay abusive or violent. Natutunan din natin last time that violent and abusive behavior is a deliberate choice made by the abuser and often manifested in a predictable cycle of violence. May cycle na nangyari doon. You know, it's good to know na meron palang ganitong klaseng mga mister na ito pala yung cycle. Kasi isang problema nga ng mga misis, kuminsan sinisisi nila yung kanilang sarili. Nasabi na siguro ako may kasalanan. Parang nagpapakamartir sila sa maling paraan. So maganda na intindihan mo, hindi, may kasalanan pala yung mister ko. Abusive pala siya. Meron palang pattern ito. May cycle pala ito. So hindi laging sinisisi mo sarili mo. Makikita mo na siya rin ay may contribution. At baka siya nga talaga ang meron lang contribution sa sitwasyong ito. So alam mo na hindi ka kailangan mag-entertain ng tinatawag na false guilt. Dahil hindi nga ikaw may kasalanan, kundi siya. So siya ang tutukan at siya ang tulungan. Okay, now we started looking last time at how to love an abusive or violent husband. Paano ang isang babae na nakapangasawa ng ganitong klaseng mister, ano ang kanyang gagawin para masunod yung sinabi ni Paul sa Titus chapter 2 and verse 4? Well, first of all, nakita natin, she is to love him by preventing him from continuing to do evil. So ito yung paraan, ano? You do something to prevent him from continuing to do evil. If the home is unsafe for the wife to stay because the husband has become violent, the wife should do something to prevent the husband from continuing or from committing a more serious sin. How does she do this? Dalawa nakita natin. First, she may temporarily flee with her children for her and their protection. Kung may mga anak siya, maaari niya isama yung kanyang mga anak. But this is going to be temporarily fleeing from her husband para maproteksyonan niya yung kanyang sarili at yung kanyang mga anak. Now, I discovered a very good support, biblical support for this. Look at Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 3. Proverbs 22 verse 3 from the English Standard Version nakalagay, "The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple go on and suffer for it." Now, tingnan ninyo from other translations, from the Good News Bible. Sensible people will see trouble coming and avoid it. But an unthinking person will walk right into it and regret it later. Ang ganda, no? Yung mga taong nag-iisip, alam na nga nila na gano'n ang magiging sitwasyon. Pagpunta nila doon, masasaktan sila. Nilalagay pa nila yung kanilang sarili sa sitwasyon na yon. Pagkatapos noon, magsisisi sila sa susunod. Tingnan nyo rin na nakalagay sa New Living Translation, another way this is translated, "A prudent person foresees the danger ahead and takes precautions. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences." So makita natin, ito ay napakagandang suporta. No, pinapakita rito na hindi masama ang umaalis dun sa ganung klaseng sitwasyon. Last time nga, tiningnan natin yung example ni David nung siya ay lumayo kay Saul, noong gumagawa na ng mga masasamang bagay si Saul kay David para saktan siya. Although David had several opportunities to kill Saul, pero hindi niya ginawa yon, and then eventually when Saul died, David not only grieved for him and for Saul's son, Jonathan, but he even composed a lamentation and eulogy for both of them, which he wanted people to memorize. Pakinggan nyo lang yung eulogy. Biruin nyo, no? Eto na, no? Napakasama na ng experience ni David sa presensya ni Saul, and yet nung namatay si Saul, ito yung portion ng kanyang sinabi. Sabi niya, 2 Samuel chapter 1 verses 23 up to 25. 2 Samuel 1 verses 23 up to 25. Sabi niya, "Saul and Jonathan, beloved and lovely." Yan yung beloved. So sinasabi niya, these people are objects of love, beloved and lovely. In life and in death, they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. You daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you luxuriously in scarlet, who put ornaments of gold on your apparel. How the mighty have fallen in the midst of the battle. So makikita ninyo, no, dito, itong magandang ebidensya na walang galit, walang bitterness si David kay Saul, kahit na ganun, na ina-assault na siya, masama na yung mga ginagawa ni King Saul sa kanya, pero nandun pa rin ang kanyang respeto, nandun pa rin ang kanyang pag-ibig. So this is a very good example for wives who have suffered in the hands of abusive husbands, not only to flee from them in times of danger, but to continue to be gracious, respectful, and loving towards them. Okay? So yun yung unang nakita natin under loving him by preventing them to continue to do evil. Pangalawa under this is report the abusive husband. Yan ang ikalawang pwedeng gawin. So hindi lamang lumayo dun sa sitwasyon na yon na pwede kang saktan ng mister mo para wag na siyang magpatuloy magkasala. At pangalawa ay pwede rin gawin mo to report the abusive husband. One under that is inform your extended family. I remember several months ago, I counseled an abused wife. And I remember one day, habang ongoing yung aming mga sessions ng counseling, I received a phone call from her. And she kept her phone turned on and hidden. It appears like sa aking tingin, no? She kept her phone hidden. And while habang nandun ako, sinasagot ko yung telepono. And I heard her husband humiliating her and yelling at her for several minutes. Dinig na dinig ko. Naririnig ko yung kanyang response. Nadidinig ko yung mister niya. Nagsisisigaw, galit na galit. Parang lasing. Yun ang kanilang sitwasyon. Now, I learned later that this is also how she made her parents aware of her situation so that in case something happened to her, her parents would know how to respond. The wife, so ang sinasabi natin rito, the wife may do that. So, yun ang isang paraan para i-report o ipaalam niya sa ibang mga tao o lalo na yung kanyang mga magulang kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanya. Pwedeng tawagan niya or pwede doon sa sitwasyon na yon, tulad ng ginawa nitong kina-counselan ko, naka-turn on lang yung cellphone niya nung time na yon. Kaya naririnig ko kung ano yung nangyayari doon sa kanila. Okay, now, the wife may also contact her parents-in-law, other relatives or friends whom she and her husband highly respect. And hopefully, they could intervene and give good counsel. May naalala kong kausap na isang babae na sabi niya, parang alam ko, yung mister ko, natatakot siya sa kanyang mga magulang, sa kanyang tatay. Sabi ko, yung pala bakit hindi mo isumbong yung mister mo sa tatay niya? Di ba? Kasi kung ganun pala ang sitwasyon, kung totoo talaga yon na natatakot itong lalaking ito sa kanyang mga magulang dahil napakataas ng respeto niya sa kanyang mga magulang, edi isumbong mo sa kanila at baka sila ngayon ang mag-intervene para matulungan kayo dyan sa sitwasyon ninyo at matulungan ka. So that's the first one, under reporting the abusive husband. Also, what you can do next is, just in case hindi nag-work yon, na pinaalam mo doon sa mga kamag-anak, then if that doesn't work, second, tell it to the church. Tell it to the church. If the abusive husband, ito ang sabi ni Martha Peace doon sa kanyang libro, doon sa kanyang article sa librong Women Helping Women, if the abusive husband refuses to seek help and accountability, the wife's next responsibility is to proceed with church discipline. Ito yung nasa Matthew 18 verses 15 up to 18. She is to bring 2 or more witnesses with her to confront him. She should choose the witnesses wisely, such as 2 godly men in her church. She then would present the facts again to her husband, speaking in a quiet tone while giving well-prepared, clear examples. I would instruct her to write down what she wants to say ahead of time and practice it loud several times. If the husband still refuses to cooperate or continues to delay the accountability, she should ask her pastor and church leaders, elders or deacons, to proceed if upon investigation they deem it appropriate with the third and possibly the fourth step in church discipline as explained in Matthew 18 verses 15 up to 20. So, ibig niya sabihin, pagka nag-confront na one-on-one, kasama yung ibang mga leaders, it doesn't work, report it to your elders, to the leaders of the church, isama na sila sa pag-uusap na yon, isama na yung pastor, and if it still doesn't work, then it may come to telling it to the church. Sasabihin mo na talaga sa buong kongregasyon so that yung proseso ng church discipline na nakalagay sa Matthew 18 may be implemented. And that would mean excommunicating yung lalaki na yun who is a member also of the church. So, we're talking here of a case wherein you have a Christian husband, katulad ni Stuart na binanggit ko kanina, at siya ay na-discipline ng iglesia. So, siya ay nananakit ng kanyang wife, abusive siya, at ito ngayon ang mas mabigat na paraan para talaga matulungan siya sa kanyang sitwasyon. Now, in case, by the way, merong isa si Edward Welch. Meron siyang statement na sinabi rito which I just want to share. Na-strike lang ako dito. Sabi ng statement niya, the husband must be made to understand that the church's leadership takes domestic violence very seriously and will act to protect his wife even as they also seek to minister to him and hold him accountable. Okay, so sa sitwasyon na yon, magandang malaman ng mister na kami bilang isang iglesia, siniseryoso namin yung wife battering or wife abuse. And so, sana dinggin mo itong counsel namin para hindi na umabot dun sa mas mabigat pa na step which is, punta na tayo doon sa ikatlo, report to civil authorities.